We continue on with Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison's celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day. I'm Molly Brown, back at ya, alongside Maty Wilke and Halle Douglas. They are both players on the Wisconsin women's basketball team. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming in. This is super exciting because I feel like, you know, women's basketball isn't necessarily always talked about when it should be. Like, it's an exciting sport. So kind of give us a little bit of your background. Maty, you're super young. You're a freshman. Are you redshirt freshman, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And you're from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Give us a little bit about how you came, like, how did you decide to come to Wisconsin? Did you know that you always wanted to stay here? What's that like?
My recruiting process was definitely different with COVID. But I decided to stay home I grew up in Wisconsin, so I was always a Badger fan. And I just wanted to change the program. And, like, hopefully young girls in Wisconsin now can, like, look up to me and follow in my footsteps and want to stay home, too. So that's kind of why I decided to stay home. And obviously the Big Ten is, like, a really good conference. So just being able to play, like, the best competition every game. And then the girls on the team were also a very big reason of why I decided to stay home.
Awesome. And then, Halle, you're from Lake Forest, Illinois, correct?
Yes.
But your dad played here
Yeah.
as a guard from 87 to 92.
Mhm.
Did that kind of influence your decision to become a Badger?
Yeah, I think a little bit. But my dad, my whole family basically came here. Like, my dad and my mom both did, and then, like, all my siblings. So when I was going through the recruiting process, Wisconsin was always kind of the top of my list, and I wanted to come here.
Right. Awesome. And then both your parents, I mean, I talked about your dad, but, like, your dad also was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, correct?
Yes.
So how has that kind of influenced your guys' lives with having parents in sports and high up sports? It's not like they just stopped in high school. Like, what has that experience been like?
I think it's helped me become the athlete I am today. I just love sports in general. Obviously, basketball is my favorite, but I've played every sport growing up, and that's helped me, like, compete in everything I do. But it also, I have very high expectations for myself, and they have very high expectations for me. So just being able to have them in my back pocket and just have their support and understanding, like, my life, and, like, they know what it is that I'm going through. So just having that another piece of, like, our relationship, it really helps it a lot. And then just, like, when they come to my games, it just means more when they're proud of me because they know how hard it is. So yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
I agree with that. Just having someone to really relate with, like my dad, I just know I can always turn to him, and he knows exactly kind of what I'm going through. And just same thing, like, I grew up in a sports family. I've always been around sports, and, like, I think that instilled, like, so much competitiveness inside of me. Like, I just am so competitive in everything I do, and I think it's because of growing up with someone like my dad who's the same way and, like, loves sports, stuff like that.
Love that. What were some of the biggest things about Wisconsin that really made you be like, I'm going to go there? Like, did you come to the campus? You just felt it? What was it?
One thing I love about Wisconsin is that when you're here, like, everyone is a Badger fan. Like, you don't go around and, like other schools, you, like, go around and you're, like, you're not really fans of the college that's around, but, like, everywhere you go, you see someone with a W on. You see, like, Wisconsin. You can go up to someone with a Wisconsin shirt on and say, "Go Badgers." And everyone, it's just kind of like I don't know, it's just like everyone cheers and roots for the Badgers. And it's just kind of a cool environment that I wanted to be a part of.
For sure.
For me, it was kind of just a family atmosphere. So obviously, I live 50 minutes away. So just having my friends and family come that have watched me since I was little. And then kind of exactly what Halle said. And just, like, the whole sports, like, Wisconsin sports is, like, everything is good. And just, like, all the facilities and all of the, like, different things, like, from the weight training and, like, all the little things that no one really talks about, like, what we have here compared to, like, other schools. Like, we just have so much more opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Isn't this so weird? I feel like Wisconsin is one of these schools that, like, you will travel anywhere in the country and you will see a Badger fan.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. So, like, that whole fan environment that you're talking
Yeah.
about, like, you can see it everywhere that you go. It's wild.
Yeah.
Were we in, like, St. Thomas? We went for, like, a trip, and we would run into people, and they'd be like, oh, like, we'd be on the beach before a game, and they're like, oh, like, my aunt went to Wisconsin. So it was, like, really small world, but it feels really cool because I feel like no other place there's,
Yeah,
like,
it's not
that
like
kind
that.
of support.
Right. So take me on kind of a journey of you guys becoming collegiate athletes. Like, what was your recruiting process like? How did that even come about? And, like, yeah, you're from Wisconsin, but you were from Beaver Dam.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know, Beaver Dam's a town of like 17,000 people. It's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from that to coming to a school like UW?
Yeah. Well, both my parents coached since I was born, so I kind of grew up around the game. And then I also had an older brother who I really looked up to because I kind of just followed him everywhere. And then just being from a small town, there wasn't a lot of people that went to play Division I sports, and very like not even girls. If it were, it was like football. So I always looked up to our high school girls because my mom coached them, and I kind of just wanted to be the first one, and like I wanted the young girls to look up to me because I looked up to the high school girls when I was young. So I just kind of wanted to set the tone for what people from, especially girls in Beaver Dam, can do. Because a lot of times we're from a small town, we kind of get overlooked. And even like with my high school team, we were really good. But everyone always looks like the Madison schools, Milwaukee and Appleton, and Beaver Dam just kind of always overlooked. So to be able to come from a small town and to play for Wisconsin, like I'm so proud to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like same type of thing kind of. I mean, I was around a lot of like honestly, like my coming up, like a lot of my friends were athletes. I used to play soccer, and like a bunch of my best friends were soccer players. And my grade, it was like a lot of girls that went on to play Division I or soccer, basketball, other sports. And I think that was really cool just because I remember like my signing day, it was like mostly girls and there was like a few guys. But I think that was kind of cool because it really put like in our town like the emphasis on like how good like female athletes are and like how good we can be.
I love that. What have been some of your guys' biggest challenges as females in not only basketball, but just athletics in general? Have you guys faced any different adversities?
One thing, like growing up kind of, I was always like, I played soccer obviously a lot, but I was always a little weirded out. Like I didn't want people to know I played basketball that much. Like I wasn't very like, I was like, oh, I played soccer, but I also, like I didn't really talk about basketball as much because I thought it was more of like a guy's sport. And like I just was kind of always had a weird like a little self-consciousness about it. And that's something like I always think about and like wish that I didn't have that like growing up, even high school. Like I wish I had a different mindset about that my whole life. So that was one thing I wish I could have changed.
I guess for me, I was always very competitive when I was younger. So like at recess, I'd be with the guys. But I just feel like I always had to do extra to like show that I was good. So like I had to win everything in order to be like, oh wow, she's like, for like in elementary school it was like we raced. So if I wanted to be considered fast, like I had to win everything. And like with basketball, like I always had to be not just good but like really good, which has helped me to get where I am today. But I feel like guys, it's like you're kind of just seen as like, oh, you're athletic, but girls have to do like so much more to be seen. And even like today, like we'll be walking around campus or like just like going to our games, like if we win like or score a lot of points or like have dunk or have really good moves, then like people will say like, oh, she's really good. But I feel like if you're a guy and you're Division I athlete, they already like assume like, oh, he's really good. So it's just kind of that struggle of like having to prove yourself every day, and you can't really have an off day because you usually get judged more for the bad days and the good days.
For sure. And I know that you said that coming to Wisconsin, a big part of the reason you did was because you wanted to change the program. How do you think, and I feel like probably everybody that's on your team wants to change the program, wants to make it a better program, everything. How do you think that you guys can do that? And / like, how do you think you can change the landscape and the opinions of women's basketball?
I think one of the biggest things is like having a group of girls that like really believe that we can change the program. And that's one thing. Like I think this year our team, we have a lot of girls that are really bought into changing the program and doing what it takes. But I mean, the changing people's opinion is only going to happen when we start winning games and when we're one of the best teams. So that's kind of something we have to stick together and like believe in ourselves and know what we're capable of. And then eventually people will start agreeing with us and like being our fan. But until then, like we just have to believe in ourselves because eventually the fans will also come like how they do with men's sports. But we just believe in ourselves.
I would agree too. I can already, like obviously we're together all the time, so we see the change happening. But a lot of people expect it to happen like so fast. Like they expect us to get all these wins right away, but it's excuse me, it's like really hard. People don't quite understand that, especially being in the Big Ten. Like, every team is really good. So a lot of people just be like, look at our wins and losses, but it's really happening off the court. And I agree, like, we have a group of girls that are really bought in, and like, we've gotten so close this last month. And then for just people to come out, I think just getting to know us as people, because I feel like, I mean, we're all really different as a team, and then once we start winning too, like, they'll come. And I think it gives us hope with the women's volleyball team, because they're very good, and like, they have so many fans. So just seeing them succeed, like, gives us hope that like, when we start winning, people will start to come too.
Right. And you also have a female head coach in Marissa Mosley. What has that kind of experience been like? Because, I mean, she's probably faced very similar adversities in athletics as you guys have. What has she kind of taught you as a leader and just kind of motivated you as women in sports?
I think for me, I used to be like very quiet, didn't really like speak my mind, and she's very big on communication. So since last year, she's very big on like in practice and off the court. Like, I've been really comfortable using my voice and speaking up for what I believe in, and just like having her as our coach, like, she's very empowering and inspiring. So I think for me, the coolest thing about having a female coach is just like seeing her use her voice, and like out in the community, like, I'm like, I can do that someday. Like, my voice actually matters, like, whether it's in sports or off the court. Like, I think that's really cool. And then just like her past experiences, like knowing that her like resume with UConn, like, I want to coach. So like, just seeing that I can be a female coach and be successful.
Yeah, I kind of agree with all of that, but just like the way that she's like instilled confidence in us on and off the court, I think she just does a good job of showing that we are really capable of really doing whatever we put our mind to, and she does a really good job of speaking her mind and standing up for what she believes in. And that's something, since I've got to college, I've learned and grown a lot in, just from learning from her.
Awesome. And I know that you're both super young, Maty especially. I feel like you're so young. Do you guys, I know you just mentioned coaching, but do you guys have aspirations within sports following graduation, or like, where are you guys' heads at with that?
I want to play professionally. I would love to play overseas just to get a different perspective, and I love traveling. And then I want to coach too, or just stay in the sports world. But I don't know. I'm kind of open to anything really, but sports is just, I just always love sports, and just like meeting a whole bunch of different people through sports. So wherever that kind of takes me, I'm willing to go anywhere for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I've thought about coaching and stuff like that, but I don't know if I want to coach yet, but I definitely will do something with sports. Like, I just love being around sports. I know sports better than I know anything else. Like, that's just been my whole life. And yeah, just like the people you meet in the sports world, I love it so much. So I'll definitely do something that has to do with sports.
Love it. Well, Maty and Halle, thank you both so much for joining me. This is Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day, and we'll continue after this.